Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Blueprints and Banter. I am your host, Steve Cona, and I am joined today by our co-host, as always, Mr. Dave Turcios. Dave, welcome.
Thank you very much, Steve.
And we're adding some entertainment to this show with another co-host, Laura Gross, our Vice President of Membership. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to bring the humor.
You bet. And today we are talking about member benefits, and that's why Laura's here on the show. But we also have some amazing guests to talk about some of the benefits that members could be taking advantage of that they might not know ABC does. So without further ado, before we get started, let's talk about our sponsors. And Dave is going to hit us up with who our sponsors are for this amazing podcast.
Yeah, of course. So for 2024, our Advantage Club Diamond sponsors are Callista Cabinet, Skin Yard Company, Milwaukee Tool, and Piper Fire. We thank you for supporting the chapter, which allows us to bring content like this to all of our members.
So I think a lot of people join ABC. They understand that we do networking. They understand that we do educational events and seminars. We do safety training, and we also do political advocacy. But what they don't know is because we have so many members across the United States, that we have so many other member benefits that they're not, that they might not know about and might not be taking advantage of. So today, I am happy to introduce two folks that head up some of the marquee benefits that we offer our members. So without further ado, let me bring on Adam Bonsky with ABC Insurance Trust and Larry Crocker with ABC Fiduciary. One handles our 401k benefits and the other handles our insurance trust and needs. And we have some exciting new programs that we're going to offer. So we'll start with Adam. Adam, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Steve. Thank you very much for having me on today.
You bet. So let's talk about a little bit about the insurance trust. I don't think a lot of people know exactly what the insurance trust is, and we have some exciting new programs that we want to share with the members.
You bet. So I'll just start with a really high-level overview. The trust was formed by ABC National back in 1957. Obviously, I haven't been around that long, or I'm working with a really good esthetician or something. But we provide, the main core thing we do is we provide employee benefit services to ABC members across the country. And it's regardless of size. So if you have 2 employees or 2,000, we have solutions for you. Also, we can help you across the full spectrum of benefits, whether it's major medical, ancillary programs, or retirement. Any of those programs are available through the trust. And what I would suggest is, hey, we're structured as a essentially nonprofit. So we are an unbiased and not profit-oriented entity whose main interest is in serving members and making sure they have the best benefits possible offered to their workforce. And it couldn't be more important today in today's sort of labor shortage and challenges to offer competitive benefits to attract and retain workers. So I think today we want to talk about the healthcare captive primarily.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think the captive is something that's a brand new, it's a very innovative program, and we have some folks that are already taking advantage of it. So let's talk about that.
That sounds good. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with a little bit of the backstory as to why we built the captive. So for most contractors, healthcare costs for their workforce equate to the second largest expense item for their business. That is, of course, after wages. And year after year, it's not a question of whether their rates will go up or not. It's a question of by how much, right? And so what's happening is fewer and fewer employers and their employees, frankly, can afford major medical, can afford healthcare. Back in 2000, 69% of employers across the country offered a major medical health plan. Today, or in 2023, it was 53%. So you're seeing fewer and fewer employees offer coverage. On top of that, the cost for a family in 2000 was about $6,500 a year. Now it's almost $24,000 a year. And if you think about the wages and how they've increased during that time, they've increased in nowhere near proportionate to that amount of increase, right? The two main drivers for healthcare costs are healthcare through a hospital, right? And medications and pharmacy expenses. Those are the two biggest drivers. And in most health plans, 90% of your cost comes from those two sources for 10% of your people. And so the good news there is this is addressable. To the extent you can focus on that 10% of your people who are driving most of the costs through their hospital charges and pharmacy charges, you can get after this. You can tackle this problem. Now in Florida, the problem is particularly bad. I'm sorry to say, but the hospital markup in Florida on average is over 1,000%. To be specific, it's 1,041%. We know this going back 20 years of data. Hospitals that take $1 of Medicare are required to report their costs to CMS, right? So we know what their charge master is, what their cost is, right? And so we know that they're way overcharging folks in the state of Florida. So if you are offering your company a plan through United Healthcare or Blue Cross or Aetna, their network will get you a discount off of those charges, right? And so let's say they're getting you a 50% discount, which is what most of them do, right? You're still paying, as a Floridian, over 500% over the hospital's cost. Now, on the pharmacy side of things, 65% of health plan drug costs are driven by only 7% or 7 to 10% of the prescriptions that your employees take. And think about this. I mean, those are a lot of the drugs you see on TV every night, right? And those drugs can be thousands of dollars per month to take. And for whatever reason, we in the US like to subsidize the rest of the world, right? We pay 8 to 10 times for the same medications here as someone in Ireland or the UK or Canada pays for the same drug. And what's crazy about that is the drug's the drug, right? Not all providers are created equal, but the drug is the drug. Why would you pay $1 more than you have to? So
I think Dave has a question for you, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam, so I'm just kind of curious. So you mentioned that, you take any company, regardless of their size, 2 employees or hundreds of employees. I'm just kind of curious, what does that application process look like? If I'm a company, maybe even a smaller company, and I'm curious, how much these benefits would cost us. Is it an extensive application process, or are there a few things that I can provide to get an idea of what it's going to cost my company?
So I'll be really clear, and I was going to get to this towards the end about the captive. The captive is available for employers that have around 50 employees enrolled in their health plan on up to about 2,000, right? So for smaller employers, we have different programs. So I just want to be clear about that. And maybe on a future podcast, we can talk about what some of those programs are for the smaller employers. But it depends, to the extent they're coming to us for major medical, ancillary, and retirement, there could be a lot of information that needs to be gathered to do an assessment across all of those programs. In some cases, they're not offering any coverage right now. And in that case, it's a much simpler process. But if they have a plan in place, there's more data to collect, because the more we can get our eyes on their latest renewal or upcoming renewal, the claims that they're experiencing, the types of plan designs they're offering across those programs, we can get a really good sense of what's going to help them most going forward and what's going to help ratchet down their costs.
Okay, I appreciate that. Is there a better time of year when a company should apply, or is it just a matter of when their current policies might be up for renewal?
Yeah, I mean, folks can come off renewal. I mean, they don't have to. First of all, most companies renew 1/1, right? It's probably a good 70% of companies renew their health benefits 1/1. But there's also plenty of other times throughout the year that folks or members are either setting up for the first time or renewing their benefits. The captive is on a 1/1 cycle. And so to the extent a member is not on a 1/1 renewal, we can get them off of that renewal cycle and onto a 1/1, and in some cases offer them a long contract where they might start 10/1 and not have to renew their benefits all the way around until 1/1/26. But there's all sorts of renewal cycles around the country, and companies have different reasons for those different timelines. I'm sure it just depends on when they started the plan for the first time. But I would say if you're not offering benefits now, there's no better time than the present, right?
Sounds great.
Adam, from the member's perspective, are you able to, when you give them the quote, if it's something that they want to do and they want to change and move on to the ABC Insurance Trust program, is there a way to connect what their savings are with the insurance trust and how that benefits or compensates for their membership dues so they can see what the value is?
Absolutely. To the extent you're saving $100,000 on your healthcare costs and your ABC membership is going to be $5,000 that year, there's a clear benefit to not only becoming a member, but getting your services from the ABC Insurance Trust. So absolutely, and we've been using that with a lot of chapters around the country as a way to not only recruit but retain members, because to the extent that a member is considering other options, as long as we're offering them terrific options here at the trust, they're going to hang out and be an ABC member, right?
Absolutely. And then you mentioned that for the captive, it's for members that have 50 plus employees, but you mentioned at the beginning that ABC members that are smaller, I think you started at 2 employees, there's still an option for them through the insurance trust, even if it's not the captive, correct?
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. And obviously in healthcare, it's largely dependent on the products and services that you have available to you does depend on your size. Mm-hmm. But we're seeing smaller and smaller employers get involved in partially self-funded health plans that haven't been so in the past. And really, we'll talk more about this in a second, but to the extent you get out of that fully insured mode where you have very little control and almost no transparency, right? To the extent you can start to move yourself along the spectrum into that partially self-funded position, you just get a lot more control, transparency, the ability to know what's going on in your plan and not have to wait until year end or ever to see your claims information.
Now, Adam, what kind of savings are some of the folks in the captive seeing, on average?
When we first put proposals together, what we'll tell folks is that anywhere from 15 to 40% is what we'll see folks save. And several of the initial members are saving just that. 2 of the members that started up 1/1 of this year are running at about a 60% loss ratio. So already through 6 months, they're saving a ton of money on their spend. And that money is staying in their general assets, in their GL, if you will, that they can use for cash flow. Now, obviously, to the extent we've told them that this is what we expect the claims to be, we like them to set those funds aside. But as we all know, contractors struggle with cash flow, a lot of them from month to month. And to the extent they have more cash flow on hand, it just helps them run their business.
Awesome. Well, let's kind of switch gears a little bit. Let's bring Larry in. Larry Crocker is with the Fiduciary Consulting Group, and they head up our 401k plan, and lots of stuff going on in the world of 401k plans. I know there's some legislation that just passed. So Larry, welcome, and talk to us about ABC's 401k plan. I know we participated in it for quite some time. It's been very lucrative for our chapter. So why don't you introduce yourself and then introduce the 401k plan that we have for our members.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate the opportunity to share. So the ABC Retirement and Savings Plan has actually been around since '97. And throughout the years, it has only been available to chapters and chapter employees. And in January of 22, after much planning and strategy, and more importantly, waiting on the Department of Labor to bring us some clarity and regulations in 2019, as you know, January of 22, the retirement plan opened up to members. And, in the planning conversation with the committee members, it was important, and in kind of the charge that we had was for clarity is the ABC didn't want to make any money off of it. It was, we want to provide a real solution, a real benefit for our membership. And, we don't want to do it unless we can do it right. want to make it simple and easy for the members to join, and didn't want a cheap program, wanted a really high-touch concierge service model at a reasonable pricing structure. So that's what we've been able to create and roll out, and on 22 and 23 was a controlled rollout basis, and now it's open and available to members across the country.
That's amazing. Can we talk about the Secure Act a little bit and how it's
Sure.
kind of pushed some folks to, ensuring that they offer 401ks to their employees?
That's right. Secure One, which was passed in December of 19, opened up the door for multiple employer plans. And we had new regulations, things, and it really set the stage for tax credits and a lot of momentum to drive new plans offered in the marketplace. But you've also seen a lot of states now come along and have mandated retirement requirements for employers of various sizes, most of them 5 employees and up. But then we come along at the end of 22 and got Secure 2.0. What's really interesting is in the process of regulations, you have the committees that create what we're going to have, what we look at after they get feedback, from the industry. Then it comes to the floor, and then there's a vote. Usually you have a paring down. What's interesting about the Secure 2.0 is you got over 90 provisions that impact employers with a retirement plan. So some of these things are mandated or required, some, and a majority of those are optional. But it kind of caught the industry flat-footed, so to speak, with so many changes. And now the record keepers have been adapting the last couple of years to how do we deploy these things. Interestingly enough, you've got some requirements that even the agencies like the IRS have stepped back and said, we're not ready for this forced Roth for what the industry is calling Rothification, where you have catch-up provisions that only can go to Roth contributions. So even the agencies that oversee are not really ready. So the IRS has kicked the can. Regulation that should have been effective first part of this year has now been moved out 2 years.
So, Larry, talk about, even though it is a multiple employer plan, it's still a plan that is unique to a company. So they can customize it however they want. Is that correct?
And the terminology that we use is your retirement plan simplified. Absolutely, Steve. A participating employer has the ability and the flexibility to determine the benefit provisions that work for them. And then as things change, you can always modify that at no cost, really, to amend the plan provisions. So there's a lot of flexibility that's been built into it. Ultimately, the employers benefit in this changing regulatory environment that you've talked about. We've also seen the litigation increase over the last few years. A lot of it is lack of procedural due diligence from an employer standpoint, lack of the knowledge and experience. It's not what most people set out to do, is to be experts in the retirement plan compliance. So that's what makes joining the ABC multiple employer plan or merging their existing plan into the ABC plan is an employer, in essence, eliminates or transfers all of their plan sponsor responsibilities to ABC. The fiduciary, the compliance, having a committee that you have to have and meet and train and do benchmarking studies and fee analysis, service provider due diligence. Interestingly enough, the Department of Labor has now weighed in with, we think you should be doing these series of things as a fiduciary of your own plan: cybersecurity due diligence, internal controls as well as external service providers, anybody that touches your information. So a lot of increased what we call compliance and operations. And that's the beauty of when an employer merges their plan in with or starts up a plan inside the ABC multiple employer plan, is all of that is now off of their plate and transferred to the ABC and the two committees that oversee the ABC retirement plan.
So that has to be a cost savings to them, right?
We've seen a lot of cost savings, especially coming from more of insurance based platforms where there's revenue sharing. This plan is created with no revenue share. We do have one company that is the third-party administrator and record keeper, and then we have a separate custodian. We have ERISA counsel. It is an audited plan. Audit companies that have an audit cost can, in essence, really eliminate, for the most part, their audit cost. From $12,000, $15,000, $18,000. The shared rate for the employers that have over 100 employees for the 23 plan year, which we're working on right now, is between $300 and $400. So an employer can pocket a lot of money.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And save a lot of money in making this decision. You're correct.
Larry, are there
Dave,
any minimum requirements that a contractor would have to be able to participate in the program, whether it's size or revenue?
Great question, Laura, and the answer is no. The one requirement is that they be a member in good standing. And that is the nexus, being a member of ABC and the association multiple employer plan. Outside of that, they can do a startup plan. There's no minimum size employees. So we've done startup proposals up to in excess of $50 million proposals. So it's for any employer that is looking to really get rid of having to deal with all of the fiduciary compliance, administration, operations, service provider oversight, those kind of things. And as simple as an employer is responsible for selection of their benefits, making timely deposits, and providing full census files on a regular payroll basis, because we have the third-party administrator assist by scrubbing payroll files, something that almost no one does today in the marketplace. But it helps an employer maintain compliance on a per pay period and a per month basis, rather than get to the end of the year and then go, oh, we had this issue all the way back in April. Now we got to do corrective action, lost earnings. Back to the simplicity that I mentioned earlier. But to your question, no minimums.
Yeah. And Larry, talk about how folks can help and maybe sell the ABC 401k program in their own group of benefits. So I know we have John DiMatteo on board helping us out here locally, but that's available to other folks as well.
That's correct. That is one of the things that in the formation and the structure as we were building this out, the chapter presidents that were part of that committee wanted to create the flexibility where all employers that have an interest in joining the plan can either Steve, as you mentioned, use the local chapter's strategic advisor partner, or they can retain their own advisor if they have a good relationship there.
Yeah, I think that's crucial, because I think a lot of folks like their advisor and know that their advisor can take advantage of using these programs as well. So that's a great benefit as well.
Yes, sir. That's right. A lot of flexibility from benefits all the way down, as we just talking about, retaining the advisor.
Yep. And I think, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, just a quick question, and I think you kind of touched base on it, but just for clarification purposes. So, I'm a bond agent, and I know that companies who have their own 401ks are required, or who manage their own 401ks are required to post an ERISA bond to protect against, access such as theft, embezzlement, misappropriation, and whatnot.
Right.
I'm assuming that if a company turns their 401k over to your group, they would no longer be required to carry that get ERISA bond on their own. Is that correct?
That is a correct assessment, Dave. When an employer merges their plan into the ABC multiple employer plan, they're no longer a plan sponsor. So they no longer have to have a bond. They no longer have to file the annual 5,500 tax return. So there again, those are things that transfer over to the plan sponsor, which is ABC National.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So last questions for Adam and Larry. Larry, how can people find out more about the ABC plan?
So abcretirementplan.com. abcretirementplan.com is a dedicated website just for the retirement plan. There is a place on there where you can contact us for more information. You can put a little bit of information in. You can request a proposal there if they have an advisor and the advisor wants to call us and discuss the plan and see how they can connect to be a part of the ABC plan. Or like I said, from a chapter standpoint, we have a strategic advisor partner, someone that can come out and sit down and educate them on how the plan works, what it is, what it looks like, all the flexible benefits. And then we do have some upcoming webinars that we will be doing, Steve, as you know, for the chapter there, so they can attend one of those informational webinars.
Excellent. And Adam, how can people learn about ABC Insurance Trust and the captive, and who do they need to contact?
So they can go to abcinsurancetrust.org and get more information there. You can also find us on the ABC National website at abc.org. They can feel free to reach out to me, and I'll put them in touch with the right member of staff. There's a landing page, as you might imagine, on our website where they can fill out simple information, and then we'll get the right person assigned. I did want to echo quickly what Larry mentioned, that with respect to the captive in particular, we are able to work with qualified local benefits advisors. So if you have a relationship with an advisor that you really value, then we can team up with that advisor and work with them to assess the captive for their business and put a proposal together in joint fashion.
That's awesome. Well, Adam and Larry, thank you both very much for joining us today. We appreciate the time, and we look forward to talking to you guys soon. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
And just to wrap this up, those are the two spotlighted member discounts and advantages and benefits that we wanted to share with you today. But Laura has some other benefits that she wants to share. So Laura, you want to talk about some of the ABC member benefits that that people need to know about?
Absolutely. So outside of just the benefits that our chapter offers locally to our members, every ABC member is able to take advantage of the ABC business discounts through ABC National. Those range from everything to savings on your Verizon wireless plan, fuel programs, FedEx savings, and a lot of times companies that actually take advantage of those business discounts are able to supplement the membership dues that they're paying. And so it offsets that cost. So it's definitely a huge member savings. All of that information is found at abc.org/business discounts. It's super simple to use. When you go to the website, you can click on each of the business discount icons and get more information. And then simply it'll redirect you to, how you go about taking advantage of the discount. And there's also some savings on the ABC National website through the ABC Tech Marketplace. So for a lot of our member companies that are using Procore, Autodesk, KPA, Oracle, you can save some money by being a ABC member in good standing through those companies as well. Lots of options for money saving. And we all want to save money.
And for those people who aren't members yet, who can they talk to about membership to our amazing association?
Well, first of all, if you're not a member of ABC, shame on you. But if you aren't a member of our chapter, first of all, the biggest member benefit of being a member of our chapter is how awesome we are. But you can reach out to myself, or give our office a call, and we'll be happy to talk through the process of getting you started, explaining all the benefits of our chapter locally, what we do, how involved we are. We're a super active chapter, and happy to have those conversations. So somebody can shoot me an email at lauragross@abcflgulf.org, and I will get them plugged right in.
And, we try every day to help our members win work. And some of the ways that we, allow them to win work is to make their costs lower. And, with all the benefits that you heard today, we can really make our members more competitive in the marketplace. So it's a great option to be part of ABC and to take advantage of all of these member benefits that we have available. Dave, do you have anything to add before we close up today?
I do. Just one quick thing. Laura, I think, did a great job recapping all the benefits that the member companies can take advantage of. And like she said, a lot of companies, the savings that they get from using these different offers, they can basically goes to pay their chapter dues. But what I also wanted to highlight, in case it's lost in the conversation here, is all the members of the companies are able to go on these sites and get discounts as well. So you can set a discount. You can buy laptops at a discount. So, not just the company can take advantage of these benefits, but the employees can as well. I know I've shared the information with my colleagues at my office, and I know they've taken advantage of some of the discounts as well. And those discounts are always changing. So it's worthwhile to visit that website every so often and see, what's newly being offered. So I wanted to make sure that's known.
And just to make sure that there's no confusion on that those discounts for movie tickets, like Dave mentioned, are for any employee that works for an ABC member company. Those are through the ABC marketplace, but they are constantly changing. Hotel rooms, rental cars, movie tickets, computers, gift cards, all kinds of things. So it's definitely a member benefit for sure.
Fantastic. So final thoughts. One thing that you guys can help us with is to like or subscribe to our podcast. Like and subscribe. Go to our YouTube page and like and subscribe there. We want to make sure that we're bringing you quality content. If you have any suggestions for podcast topics, please feel free to reach out to me, Laura, or Dave, and we'll be happy to put on a new podcast with the topic of your choice. So thanks for joining us today. We appreciate all of you, and we'll see you next time on Blueprints and Banner.